Yesterday I saw 2 mock drafts that had the Bears taking Paris Johnson.
Right.
They're probably going to have their pick of the best tackle in all likelihood.
Yeah.
Whether they like Skoronski more or they like Johnson more is what it's going to come down to. Unless they back out of that spot again and they do find themselves in position a few picks later to draft in Jigbar or Jordan Addison or something like that, or Quentin Johnston. With all that they need, considering they already added DJ Moore, can they afford to take a wide receiver in the first round? I say that knowing that a lot of these GMs, and it seems like Poles is one of them, they don't get wrapped up in positional need. They take the best player. So if they get to a point on the board where the best player is a receiver, do they do that? I don't know, Yerk, or just it seems like there's so many other things that they need to accomplish.
Well, not going after Orlando Brown Jr., and he signs for only $16 million a year with Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati's very happy to have him at the number they got him at.
Right.
So believing in what you have with number 70 at the left tackle position, do you go out and get the stud offensive lineman? I think you have to. Now, Ryan Poles has gone about the business of building this team kind of in a weird way.
Yes, I would agree. Everybody's all giddy, and I love the trade, and I think it's great. They haven't addressed their 2 biggest weaknesses. I guess they did a little with Nate Davis. We'll see how that turns out. But they really haven't addressed their 2 biggest weaknesses yet.
Yeah.
He's signing off-ball linebackers.
He's got the roof already and set to go, and he's got the walls all built, but he hasn't poured the foundation yet.
Right.
So I'm still waiting for the foundation to get poured in the acquisitions. Now, you still got Yannick Ngakoue out there.
Out there.
Yeah, he's still out there.
He's just like
he's a guy that can give you 10 sacks, which
true.
would be half of what the Chicago Bears produced. He's been on 5 different teams since. I mean, it's just
he's a hired gun at this point, right?
Exactly. He's a mercenary.
Yeah,
he's a mercenary. Come in here and just let's rush the passer.
And he's good. Like, you're probably right. He'll get you 10 sacks in all likelihood.
10 sacks is what he's going to end up getting you. So you can go get him if you believe it.
It's interesting. Yeah.
For how much money? I mean, if you had to go get somebody and you needed somebody to rush the passer for you, and you wouldn't have to give him a 5-year contract, because, I mean, halfway through, he might not like it, and he'll be complaining, and you're going to want to trade him to somebody that needs a pass rusher that's going to be in the playoffs. I mean, that's his modus operandi right now.
Like, would he want to come to a team like the Bears that might only win 7 games if everything breaks right? I don't know.
You haven't addressed your lines.
No, he has
Let's
not.
say it out loud.
He has not.
Okay?
I agree.
And now there's still time to do it with second-tier free agents. You can address your offensive line, but you're not bringing a stud in here by any stretch. You're bringing foundation guys in here. You're bringing mortar guys in here, right? The between the bricks, you put the mortar to help solidify the bricks. That's what you've got. It's been a kind of a weird way to build a football team.
I don't disagree.
I'll be frank with you.
Be Yurko too.
Prefer to be Yurko.
I don't disagree with you, my man.
Kind of weird. I'm looking down there. I said, well, there's no foundation in this building. What's going on? Pouring concrete without rebar. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Right?
No.
You don't pour concrete without reinforcement bar in it, do you?
No.
I'm not a construction magnate,
Magnate.
Yeah, I'm not Walsh Construction over here. I'm not Passion by any stretch of the imagination.
You're not Ozinga Cement Company? No. Hey, look at that. Right as we say it. There goes one down the street. Look at that.
Yeah, the red and white stripes.
That's
there
right.
It goes. Yeah, they're not pouring it without rebar down there.
I don't think so.
Got to have something.
And it's the only thing we've been slightly critical of at this point, but we keep saying there's a lot still to happen. And it's why it, I think, makes everyone think at this point that they're eyeing an offensive lineman with that first pick in the draft. I'd get excited about another wide receiver, and they talk about, no, we go after the best player, not positional need. Wouldn't you be kind of stunned if they didn't take a defensive lineman or an offensive lineman a month from now with that first pick?
I'd be stunned.
Pretty stunned.
I would be stunned.
I would be. I just think you've got to address that at some point, or else what are you really accomplishing? TJ Edwards might be great. I love Tremaine Edmonds. I've always loved him. I loved him coming out of college. On draft night that night, I was like, boy, I hope the Bears don't regret Roquan over Edmonds. They didn't, but how excited am I supposed to get? He's a terrific football player, but he doesn't do the things that the Bears need.
Right. He's going to have a face full of offensive linemen that he's going to be dealing with on an everyday basis. The great Warren Zevon once said, like a house of cards or a castle made of sand, it don't take much to blow away.
Right.
Okay? That's what you're building right now. A house of cards and a castle made of sand. Okay? It don't take much to defeat that. I need the lines addressed.
Yeah.
I need an offensive and a defensive line. I need it addressed. Been patient. Been watching a lot. Oh, let's go get running backs and linebackers. And I'm scratching my head going, oh, what's going on?
And I don't even, the running backs I don't mind as much because you lost one and you bought them all cheap. I mean, you bought them cheap, and so it's fine. But signing two off-ball linebackers
right. You got an inexpensive off-ball linebacker. You got an expensive off-ball linebacker.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, that's
so
true.
You're like, okay, all right. Not as expensive as the guy that left.
Right.
The two of them combined.
They got two for the price of one.
Right. All right, but I got a little agita.
Mm-hmm.
I got a little agita thinking about the offensive and the defensive line. I got some agita here.
Yeah. And then the other, the guys like Devin Witherspoon and the kid from Oregon have kind of come flying up the boards. The corners, I don't think the Bears are.
The kid from Illinois?
Yeah. And then there's the other one from Oregon. I'm blanking on his name right now. I apologize. Those two have really started to fly up the draft boards. And Witherspoon was great at the combine. He had a great year. I don't know that they're in a position to draft one of those guys either, even though they probably need some help at that position. This is where it always gets into, like, they say we take the best player, but do they really when they're as desperate in a few key areas as the Bears are? Well, we're going to find out. I think he certainly believed it last year when he bypassed George Pickens not once but twice, which is a pretty big need, but they had two defensive players that they liked more. Now, if those players turn out to be perennial Pro Bowlers, and that is Kyler Gordon and Jaquan Brisker, so be it. And I thought we saw some really good stuff, especially out of Brisker this year when he wasn't biting for Daniel Jones ball fakes in New York. I still think we saw some good things out of Brisker. Like, okay, I hope those guys.
Well, they'll be better in year two.
And I know, but like, again, when you are ignoring a position in need, and a player like Pickens was there not once but twice, and you passed on him twice, and then you start going into the trade market,
and he becomes a stud.
That's what I mean. It's a pretty good chance that George Pickens is going to be a stud, folks. That's kind of what it looks like. And you're like, So when I'm constantly told, no, just draft the best player, if there's a player that you have highly rated, now maybe they just totally missed on him. Maybe they didn't like him that much. But if it's close and it's a positional need, and wide receiver was a huge positional need, and you ignore it not once but twice with your first two picks, it is a little bit of a head scratcher. And that's why I got to believe that they are targeting either an O lineman or a D lineman with that first pick if they stay at 9. 312-332-3776. So no matter what Jackson Smith-Njigba does today, and he ran a 4.540, and that's fine. It's not blazing, but that's fine. I mean, he's a terrific receiver. I think he'll translate quite well to the NFL. But I don't know that they've got that luxury, and especially since they acquired DJ Moore, at least they checked that box this offseason with the trade. I'd love more wide receiver talent. Don't get me wrong. But at some point, you better do what Jurko's talking about, and that is secure that foundation. And that is on your offensive and your defensive line. Two units that need a lot of work. Let's go to Adam and Wheaton. What's up, Adam?
Hey, guys. So I know you just talked about it, but what would you think about getting the receiver from Ohio State? Because based on the Burrow-Chase connection from them from college and coming into the NFL, you would kind of have that chemistry connection. And, I mean, their O-line was decent to good, and they made it to the championship game and the Super Bowl 2 years in a row. So what do you guys think?
I mean, was the relationship from 3 years ago as strong as it was? This is what I would ask, and thanks for the call. Is it as strong as the relationship was between Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow? That one really stands out. I think we all remember it. I'm trying to remember just like, I want to go back and look real quick. Just bear with me.
The relationship between who and who?
Between Fields and Njigba. What was that? What was three? Remember,
there was not much of a relationship.
That's what I'm asking.
In
Chris. What
2020, Smith and Njigba he played 7 games. He had 10 receptions for 49 yards and a touchdown.
He was a freshman, right, Chris?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Fields' last year, he was just a freshman. Yeah. That's what I figured, but I wanted to double check. Thank you for checking, Chris. That's
he had 9 touchdowns in 2021. and 1,600 yards.
Yeah.
16,000 yards.
The connection is with CJ Stroud, 1,600. The connection is with CJ Stroud.
Yes.
That's the connection. It's not really Justin Fields to Jackson Smith and Jigba. That's what I was wondering, and that's